In Lesson 1 and 2, you learnt how to trade options in the new and basic mode of the platform. You were also introduced to the Payout Scenario chart. In this lesson, I will teach you how to use the options payout, how it's calculated, and how you can analyze this to your advantage. From previous lessons, you should already know that options are used to reserve a rate in the market. And if that rate subsequently becomes more attractive as the market rate moves around, then the option will gain in value. So for the purpose of explaining scenario payouts, let's look at a euro to US dollar rate. And say, for example, euro dollar is trading around 1.10. And in the next week, we expect that this rate is going to go up. To trade this expectation, we could use an option to reserve a buy rate to buy 100,000 euros at 1.10 over the next week. And if we are right, and the market does go up, then the option will become more valuable and we will make a profit. And here's how that option trade looks in the platform. Notice that it's a call option since we're reserving a buy rate in the market. Now let's look at the payout scenarios for this trade. So here we have a table, and we're going to calculate the options payout at expiry over a range of market rates. So in a week's time, if the market was trading at 1.15, it means that our prediction was correct. The rate has gone up. But how much would the option pay out? Well, remember that through our option we can buy 100,000 at 110. This gives us a 500 pip advantage over the 1.15 market rate. So in pip terms, we're 500 pips in profit. Now to translate this into monetary terms, we simply multiply the 500 pips by the option's deal size, that is 100,000 multiplied by 0.05, which equals $5,000. Now, what if the market were trading at 1.13? Well, we're still at an advantage because we're 300 pips better than the market rate. And so to calculate how much this is in terms of payout, in terms of actual money, we take 300 pips and we multiply that by 100,000, which is $3,000. And for the rate of 1.11, it's very similar. We're now 100 pips better than market, so the payout is $1,000. Now, if the market in a week's time is trading at 110, the situation is different. Because in this case, the market rate is the same as the rate that we've reserved with our option, which means that the option trade is offering no advantage over the market rate. Therefore, our option is worthless, and so the payout is 0. And it's the same for any rate below 110. The option cannot beat the market, so it's not worth anything. So here we have the options payout at expiry over a range of market rates. But how do we work out the overall profit or loss? Well, this entirely depends on how much you paid for the option in the first place. So if we go back and look at the option trade, you can see that it cost $500 to buy this option. So if I add this to our table, which is the third column here, called Open Premium, with this information we can calculate the profit or loss. So just focusing on the top row, when the market rate is 1.15, we know that the option is worth $5,000, but we originally paid $500 for the option, so of course our profit is simply the difference between these two values, which is $4,500. And we can go through and calculate the profit and loss for each of these market rates. So at 1.13, we have a $3,000 payout. We paid $500 for it, so obviously our profit is 2,500, and for the next one down it's 500. Now at 1.10 we didn't receive any payout for the option. The option is worth nothing at expiry, but we originally paid $500 for it, so of course we lose $500, and it's the same for any rate below the 110 level. In this table it's very clear that if the market rate goes up, our profit will grow, and that is unlimited. Yet if the market rate goes down, we will create a loss, but this loss is limited to the $500 that we originally paid for the option, and there is no stop loss involved here. So here we have our full scenario table, and what we can do is we can take the market rate column, the first column there, and plot these on a chart against the profit or loss. And when we do this, we get a chart that looks like this, with the unlimited profit, anything on the right hand side of the 110 level, and anything below the 110 level we get this limited loss. You should all recognize this chart from the scenario charts that we looked at in lesson 1 and 2. It's a classic buy call option chart. So now we've done the book work, let's analyze this in a live trading environment. You log in from the Options Are Easy website. So from here, let me set up the euro-dollar call option that we have just been studying to reserve a buy rate of 110 over the next 7 days, and this is for an amount of 100,000. Now bear in mind that the euro-US dollar market rate is trading around 109.50 at the moment, so this is in fact an out of the money option, because the strike rate is worse than the current market rate. And you can see that this option will cost around $500. Now let's check out the payout for this option by clicking on the Scenarios button. First we'll look at the payout at expiry. Now using the pip step function on the left here, you can view different ranges of market rates. If I choose 10 pips here, it means that each point on the chart and also in the table is 10 pips apart. It's giving me a very narrow range to analyze. But if I go and change it to 100 pips, I'm getting a much wider view. Focusing on the table here, you can see that the first column is the market rates, and the second column is the amount that we pay for the option. As you know, this is around $500, and you can also see it here on the chart above. The third column is the amount that the option is worth at expiry. These are the calculations that we've just been studying. Now because the option strike is at 110, when the market rate is above 110, the option will pay out. And so you can see here at market rate of 110.51, the market is 51 pips above our strike of 110, then the payout is around $510 US. And the last column here is the net profit or loss from the option trade. So as you know, this is the difference between the amount you paid for the option and the amount of payout you're going to get. The chart and table also indicate the break-even point. And here you can see the break-even point at expiry is 110.51. Now when considering the option trade, you should look at the break-even point, your profit potential, and your risk. If you evaluate that the profit potential outweighs your risk, then it may be a good trade. But if the risk is higher than the profit, then it's not an ideal trade. And here I'm trading the outlook that euro US dollar will rise. And I can see if the rate gets to 1.1151, I will make $1,000, which is about 2 times more than my risk. So if I think that in the next week it's possible for euro dollar to reach this level, then of course this is a good trade. But if my analysis is telling me that euro dollar is only going to get to 110.51, then of course it wouldn't be a good trade to take, because my risk is more than my potential profit. So when you're buying options, you're always looking for higher probability opportunities, and analyzing the risk versus the payout over a range of rates is a good way to do this. So far we have only studied the payout of an option at its expiry. But you can see when I switch the chart to a present payout chart, which is showing the present value of the option, you can see that this value is higher than the payout at expiry. And as I switch from one chart to the other, this becomes very clear. This is showing us that before an option expires, it's worth more. And the reason for that is because an option before it expires has what we call time value. To best describe this, we say that the option's value is made up of 2 parts. It has intrinsic value and it has time value. The intrinsic part is simply the difference between the strike and the market rate. It's the calculations that we've already been doing. The time value portion depends on the amount of time left in the option trade. And at the option's expiry, there is no time left, which means time value equals 0. Hence, the option's payout at expiry is simply based on the difference between the strike and the market. Now, there are 2 important facts you need to know about time value. As the option gets closer and closer to its expiry, time value is declining. This means when you buy an option, the sooner the market moves in your favour and you can close at a profit, the better. And secondly, time value is also affected by market volatility. If there is a market consensus that it's going to be more volatile, then time value will increase. This means that when you buy an option, not only will you benefit from when market direction goes your way, but you will also benefit when volatility increases. In later lessons, I will explain time value and volatility in more detail. So there you have it. Using the scenario chart and table, you can analyze your payout, either at the present value, which includes time value, or at expiry, which has no time value. Between the 2 charts, you can make your analysis on the profit potential of the trade. Now that you understand how to calculate and analyze the options payout, in the next lesson we'll be taking it up a gear and going to the advanced mode of trading. Here I will teach you how to buy more than one option simultaneously to create an option strategy. You can sign up for an account at optionsareasy.com, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, info@ore.com.